Very good morning to you. You're watching Newsline this morning. I'm Chathuranga Hapuarahchchi. Before we start off with what we have lined up for you this morning, let me wish all our Muslim devotees happy Eid ul-Adha, event of a day of celebration for our Muslim devotees. And in my reading, I've understood that Eid ul-Adha is about sacrifice carried out by prophets of the past. And taking a note from there, the people of our country have also sacrificed many things. For 30 years, we have sacrificed our brothers, fathers, mothers, sisters, daughters for the war, the 30-year-old war. And then for 10 years, people have sacrificed under the Rajapaksa regime. And now, for 3 years, people have once again sacrificed very many things under the 3 years of the good governance government led by the United National Party. If I'm to go through several headlines of the newspapers today, we see that 4 key individuals, or rather 3 key individuals involved in alleged corruption at Sri Lankan Airlines, Sri Lankan Catering and Mihin Lanka are to be brought before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry appointed by the President to look into misappropriations, financial misappropriations into the irregularities there. Those names are former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa, Sajin Vas and Nishantha Wickramasinghe, the former chairman of Sri Lankan Airlines. All these people are to be questioned by the Presidential Commission of Inquiry. And yesterday we learned through the commission that an involvement was made by former ambassador to Ukraine and Russia, Udayanga Veeratunga, when it came to matters pertaining to Sri Lankan Airlines and the awarding of GSTs to those countries. Now, a lot is coming out into the open forum when it comes to the financial misappropriations, financial irregularities, and we also see another headline that the Permanent High Court at Bar declared open yesterday by Minister of Justice Thalata Attukorala. Now, while we have to commend her on how she is handling this prison issue of the inmates protesting on top of the roof, we see now that the Permanent High Court at Bar is declared open. Main question raised by everyone, the general public, is whether the bond scam will be taken up at this special trial at Bar as well. We asked that question, journalists raised that question with the minister yesterday when the court premises was declared open. She said she is not the deciding party and she does not know whether the bond scam will be taken up, but we hope that cases like the bond scam will also be taken up at this special trial at Bar, and things will move fast and the people will have an answer to whoever the money that has been robbed by the people will be back with the people. That is what is important. And we also know that there are a lot of cases pertaining to crimes happening in the recent past, and we see the Sinhala newspapers making headlines that a lot of people involved in crime, especially 2 individuals were arrested yesterday for their involvement in criminal activities surrounding Colombo. And we also see that the criminals involved in the shooting incident in the Kirivehera in Kataragama have been further remanded according to the Diva in a newspaper. Now, another key development yesterday was the arrival of the Japanese defense minister. This is the first time a Japanese defense minister has arrived in the country. He initially was welcomed by the Chief of Defence Staff, Admiral Ravindra Wijegunaratne. Thereafter, the defence minister met with State Minister of Defence Ruwan Wijewardena in Colombo. He met with President Maithripala Sirisena and Prime Minister Ranil Wickramasinghe. Basically, from what we got to, what the reports we received from the Japanese embassy said that the Defence Minister of Japan is here to discuss defence-related matters with key individuals in the government and the hierarchy. And we also saw him saying that he will be visiting key ports in the country. This is the first time I think a Japanese defense minister is visiting Trincomalee, Hambantota and the port. Now we have to go in and see who our guest is this morning. Our guest ran a bit late. We have to understand today is an important day, and we have our guest Mr. Azath Salley will be joining us in a bit. We have to thank him for agreeing to come here with us. He has been a person who is very vocal about the corruption and the misappropriation happening in our country. Irrelevant of today being an important day for all Muslim devotees, Mr. Salley has agreed to come and be a part of the show and talk to us about the current situation of the government. What we are trying to focus with Mr. Azath Salley is 3 years have passed since this government came into power, yet like in the previous administrations, corruption, misappropriation has gone unpunished. The only several key issues that we have seen are not yet answered, especially the bond scam. The perpetrators seem to be at large. Even the bond scam, how people were taken out of COPE, how footnotes were laid, how members of the United National Party who are members of COPE received phone calls. The general public remembers all of this when it comes to matters like the bond scam. Then we had the Central Highway problem, once again a scam that people needs answers for. We have seen several of these happening, so our objective today is to talk to Mr. Azath Salley and get the information from him as to how the government has progressed in the 3 years, a person who has been involved in bringing this government into power in 2015. A very good morning to you, Mr. Salley.
Very good morning, Chathuranga. How are you?
They're doing good.
Eid Mubarak.
Eid Mubarak to you, and thank you very much for being here this morning.
I have always been during the festival. I am always here.
Mr. Salley, let's get to the point straight away. We've gone a few minutes into the program. I want to ask you very directly, 3 years, you were responsible for bringing this government in. The United National Party is leading the economy of the country. That was the idea. And every instance where you think of the economy, businessmen, normal general public, day-to-day, doing their day-to-day activities will understand that the economy is not good. Who is responsible?
Actually speaking, I think for the first time in Sri Lanka, we have a government with the two major parties involved. And this has led to this situation, I feel, because every decision that has been taken, you can see it is immediately withdrawn, and after 4-5 days it will be again reinstated. So I mean, they are people who can never sit together, decide on what they want to do, how to put the economy on track, how to do things, how to do business with people, and whom to do with business. They have lost their priority. This has led to the issue. And if you see even the taxes that have come up, what reason do they give? Is the loans taken by the Rajapaksa. Do the country know this? Why didn't you inform the public of the real situation as you all came? Some even said, we don't know how much of loan they have taken, still we are unable to find. How can it be? Right? If you had the right people at the right thing, right post and doing the right thing, I think by now everything should be in black and white and say this is what the total debit that the Rajapaksas have taken, this is the total amount of money we have, this is the reserve we have, this is how we have to pay, this is our plan, and this should have been told to public. Whenever there is an increase, we can see people striking, people shouting about it. Wherever you go, even in the bus, a three-wheeler, a train, people start talking about the economy, about the country's affair. Now you saw yesterday also, again this issue of the university students on the road and getting hit. Right? How can we wait watching all these things? Right? So there is no proper direction. And even the government does not know where it is going. Now when you saw the new court being opened yesterday, what are the MPs and everybody within the government asking, you all promised 3 courts, why 1? Right? Now just hardly 16 months to go. Can you complete all these things? It's a big question, because you have started it very late, after 3.5 years you have started. And whom to bring there? Now when we were speaking about the bond earlier, up to today the earlier bond has not been taken, the present bond has been taken. That also we have seen Arjun Aloysius paying 45,000 checks, and as I always said, the guy who gave the check is suffering and the fellows who obtain the check are enjoying. This is the newest joke in this government, right? No action whatsoever. You can see the Attorney General Department not functioning properly. You can see the Attorney General Department going in for with these corruptions. You can see them going and supporting this type of people. You can see the Attorney General people who are involved in the bond commission are kept away when 3 elite of the UNP go in for question. They have not been cross-examined, right? So these are things that people have been watching and talking about today. Even yesterday in the press we said this.
Yes.
And the Prime Minister very clearly says, 19th Amendment was brought by me. We reduced the powers of the President and made the President answerable to Parliament. Appointment of ministers and deputy ministers is the prerogative of the Prime Minister. Right? We have reduced his term to 5 years. All this is being said by the Prime Minister. If all these are correct and true, why not get the other things also moving? Can you get the police to go to question the defeated president of this country? What happened? What embarrassment was caused to the police officers who went there? They were hooted down. They were not allowed to go in. They were questioned like none other person. I mean, why
they were doing their job?
Why they should suffer? Now tell me, why is the government servants refusing to sign any document today? Because they say you are talking of good governance, you don't have it within yourself, number one. Number two, today officers are being called in for questioning, commissions are being put, so we don't want to be a party to this. Right? So no government officer wants to take up the risk of signing a document. And where are we heading for? Where is the investment? You are talking of millions and millions coming, but you are just talking of one Lokavita. That may pass you a hurry, Jan Agramatma hurry. We have sorted everything out. Now it's your duty to convince the other fellows and take it towards my side. So who is the Lokavita Arna? For that matter. Who is this person? He was accused of being Mr. Rajapaksa's henchman. He was said that he is the person who was looking after the Rajapaksa's interest in the Dubai accounts. The Marriott Hotel. Now you can't say suddenly the Arab that was there, that Arab suddenly died and I became a multimillionaire. Can you say this? This is not the excuse that you can give. Arab can die, but how can you claim Arab's money? You can't claim like that. So these are issues for the government to think. And the government is not very straight. The government itself is not very straight. So they are also into various hanky-panky. And you saw how we exposed on Thursday. Indrajit Kumar Swami, the worst wheeler dealer that we have. The minister Malik Samaravikrama. Then we see Gyan Amaratunga. We see Mano Tittavela. All conspiring. Right? They meet at the Jai Kilton, then from there they take the VIP lift, they go to the VIP room. For what? Now just once you know, Mr. Gyan Amaratunga had been right throughout, even during the Rajapaksas, he had been in the People's Bank board. How can he do business? There was my issue. I was never ever talking about his financial issues. Whether that money was given, whether that money was covered, because as you all came out with the story, my first call was to the chairman People's Bank just to ask him whether this money was covered. Then he told me, yes, securities and bonds are there 70%, 30% he has covered with collaterals. Okay, money can be covered, but ethically and morally it is wrong for Jehan Amaratunga to be in that People's Bank board and to take money for his company. That was my issue. I never accused him of anything else. But now what happens? Central Bank gives a letter saying that a person who is in the People's Bank board can take money from the bank. Is it right for Central Bank to give us a letter like this? Just to protect one person, you are setting a bad example to the whole country. And everybody who is in the board of various banks will start taking money out. This will be a disgrace to the country. So where is the country heading for?
Mr. Salley, now when it comes to matters like this, we also know that the role of the Prime Minister, you spoke about the 19th Amendment to the Constitution, how the Prime Minister has made various statements about the President's power being curtailed, etc. Now, the problem is, when the power goes away from the President, it accumulates with the Prime Minister. So now the Prime Minister has become more powerful than the executive. And
worst scenario, I didn't tell you, is the Constitutional Council. Right? Who is sitting in the Constitutional Council where the appointments are made? CJ if you take. Right? See, what happens? Prime Minister sits in the Constitutional Council, Speaker of Parliament sits in the Constitutional, Vijaydas Rajapaksa sits in the Champiga Ranavaka, who is the President's nominee. That's also another UNPA, right? So, Shibli Aziz, see, all are UNPS. How can you expect good to come out of the Constitutional Council? How can you expect justice to come out of the Constitutional Council? No. So this is what we were saying, is the President has to put his foot down and say these are the things. If it is going to be 50-50, yes, 50-50, I will have 50 of my people, you have 50 of your people. This is like the Bond Commission being appointed. Now you saw, when the Bond Commission was appointed, only now things are coming out, that they insisted on Faisal Mustafa, that no, you can't be putting people. Why? Because they already had 3 people of their own sitting and giving the judgment on the Bond Commission. So everything was protected. Then when they knew, if suddenly all 3 people are independent and they will definitely do a good job, then the whole thing is finished. Then they insisted, no, we want one of our representatives. That is how Jayawardena was put in, right? Right. So this is a very important question. How did this person come in, and from where did he come in? Because to see his interests had right throughout been with the UNP. He was put in, the commission was done, nicely designed, and when 2 people were cross-examining all the other people like pickpockets, only when 3 people come in,
they are changed.
They are completely changed, and it's a question and answer session and not a cross-examining session.
And the questions are sent beforehand to the Prime Minister as well.
And he comes, very, very transparent, though the previous government robbed in the bond, the Greek bond, all that bonds are there, we have to investigate. But see, what we are doing, we are ready, we are going to face the public, we are coming before the commission. No, the entire episode was totally wrong. How did that happen? How did that happen? How did Sujiva Serasinga get 3 million? How did Rosie Senanaka get 2 million? Today, they have accepted. Today they can't say no. The son has gone before the CID and said, yes, I took the money. Right? So, what is going to happen to them? What investigation will happen? Whether is the CID going to proceed with this case, or whether this case is going to be transferred to the new courts? Is a question by public.
Mrs. Ali, another problem is, now we saw yesterday and the day before, the Daily Mirror had reported that the government is resorting to asking the private banks to increase the pawn loans by $500 billion. And they have also held meetings headed by Mr. Paskaralingam, the advisor to the Prime Minister, to ask private banks to support the Gamperali initiative carried out by the government. Now once again, first of all, the paper itself
as the government came, they have pawned 3/4 of the country already to the World Bank, to the IMF and to various other countries. Right? So they want the people also to pawn whatever they have in the banks. That is their motive. Yeah. So people, then that one thing more, they go further and say that the country is corrupt, government is finished, people have no money, so they are pawning their things. That is why the demand is high. That's what they have told everybody to increase. So, I mean, how can you live like this? How can you go on like this? Where is law and order today? Nothing. Nothing is working. I think, have you ever heard central bank governor coming out for personal discussions to various hotels? And what is this conspiracy? What are you all talking? To whom are you all going to give? Now, we are continuously accusing Malik Samaravikrama for various nefarious activities. Why action is not been taken? Why is the UNP backbenchers silent? UNP backbenchers have their group meetings. I can say, come on, who are you? From where did you come? You came from the back door. What is your claim to the UNP?
Where is the public mandate?
Right? Where is the public mandate? We are people who got the votes for the party. We are people asking us, who are you? You're only a friend to the Prime Minister. Just being a friend, you're ruining the party. You're ruining the country. Where is the investment that you have brought into this country? Please show us. This is like the previous BOI chairman coming, and you remember the tallest building that was coming in Sri Lanka? Never came. The 7th tallest building that was coming in Sri Lanka never came. Why? Without a land, you signed an agreement. You must have a land, you must have a program, and how many floors it is going to go, how much of investment, how much of construction is going to come, how many square feet of construction is going to come, must be there. Without all that, you say on the newspaper and the media, we are going to have the tallest building, 7th tallest building in Sri Lanka, which never saw the light of the day. Right?
Volkswagen, okay.
Volkswagen, I mean, same thing, right? Over and over again. And you don't have good investors to come into the country. Now when we went with the president to Bangladesh, we were coming out, president himself was telling, how can any investor come into this country when we don't have facilities for them? Right? Now, BOI, if you take, we have the best of people today in the BOI. Because BOI, from the day it started, except for 1 or 2 chairmen who came to rob that place. Now, how did this happen? How did the BOI function? They bought in investment. People were volunteering to come because you have a tax holiday. Right? You have other facilities. All documentation were overnight done, all those things were there. But today, you can't bring in anything because you don't have the tax holiday, you don't have any facilities that will be given to investor. So why the heck should anybody come into this country for investment? This is what they want to come. Now you saw last 17th, you saw the BOI people, you saw the minister coming from Bangladesh, meeting the Sri Lankans. They are even more Sri Lankan companies are pulling out from here and going to Bangladesh because they have better facilities. We are unable to do anything. Now if you take the value, yesterday also I met with Gayantha Karnatilaka.
Yeah.
What was that? Every land, state land that has been given, they are doubling that price with the valuation and 50% increase every 5 years. Now cabinet has taken a decision to make it 20%. Now what did they do? They have valued those properties now and gone back 7 years back and asking companies to pay 9 million, 10 million like that. Can they do like that? So where is discipline? No, there is nothing.
Mr. Salley, now we just spoke about this private banks are being asked to come into Gamperelia and invest 42 billion rupees. We know that the investment is for Enterprise Sri Lanka as well. One question, because we are running out of time, is whether this money, they are basically giving people money and saying, you know, the elections are coming up, so vote for us. That is what is happening if a normal person is to ascertain situation. One, will that work? Second question, while the government is saying Enterprise Sri Lanka, promoting entrepreneurship, on the other side the government is imposing a 30,000 rupee levy on all companies every year through the new amendment to the taxes. So two things, one is the government is being contradictory, the other one is they are just selling their votes.
See, whatever they might do at this moment, people know it is for election purpose. Right? Number one. Number two, as far as the public is concerned today, we have been accusing of the Rajapaksa family for robbing this country. Accusation is there. Up to today it has not been proved in a court of law. So what people are going to say is, forget all that. We have confidence in the Rajapaksas. They will rob the country, but at the same time they will develop the country. That attitude, that speaking has already started wherever you go. So Gamperelia, temple trees temple trees all the developments are taking place. Nothing like that. You don't have a program of work. You don't show it to the public. You don't show what is the deficit that is there already. Right? How this country is going to be taken forward. That there is relationship between the president and the prime minister. Now you saw yesterday's decision. How can all the decisions be reverted by somebody? Yesterday they took by the president. So everything that is being decided is being sidelined or taken out by the president. After 2 days it is reinstated. So you can't run a country like that. It has to be a joint effort, because this is what we told the public. We said we are coming jointly only to look after the interest of the masses. And all the robbed money which is in Seychelles, which is in Dubai, all these foreign countries, all these monies will be bought into Sri Lanka and it will be given for development work. But how did the man go from Colombo to Dubai, withdraw all the money? Right? Udayanga Veeratunga, from the Dubai courts, he has been released to be sent to Sri Lanka. Why are you not bringing him? Who is stopping Udayanga coming to Sri Lanka? It's a big question.
Definitely.
Right? So everybody knows that things are taking place. Now when the money was there, we shouted so much, go to Dubai. I think our former finance minister went and also failed. He couldn't bring the money, but what Dubai said is come through the proper channels. So Sri Lanka was not able to do anything in the proper channel. So nobody is there to work. Right? All have taken the benefit out of Sri Lanka and today enjoying outside Sri Lanka. This is what the motive of most of the people now, even Attorney General Department. See, people who have lost files, people who have done the wrong thing, people who have given wrong information to the then Justice Minister not to file case for avant-garde, those people are enjoying in Fiji courts. So we are suffering, people are suffering, not knowing what to do. So at a moment like this, where only 16 months is left, monoperally you bring in, people have made up their mind that we are sick and tired of you because you have never been doing the right thing. This is the motive and this is the mindset of the people. What people expected was good governance, and really this good governance they were expecting is to work, and this good governance will see so many people who have taken money out. But if you don't sentence one or two guys, even the fellows who are there will definitely know, and after 3.5 years also nothing happened, so we will also rob. That is the motive. And I always say, when they know that this is the amount totally robbed by the Rajapaksa regiment, UNP guys want to rob more, 1 rupee more than the Rajapaksas. That is the motive. If you ask me very clearly, this is the motive of the UNP. That is why everybody is suffering.
Mr. Salley says, whatever perillia happens, the people have made up their minds. That is what Mr. Salley says, and he is echoing the same.
We are very hurt and totally disappointed because we don't want to see the Rajapaksas coming back to power. But the way the government is going to give them it with a platter.
That was Mr. Azath Salley, as always very vocal about the issues of the government, a person who was responsible for bringing in this government back in the day. One of the people responsible for bringing in this government into power. So thank you, Mr. Salley, for being here with us even on your festival day, and thank you for talking to us about the issues of the government. Bottom line is, as he said, the people have made up their minds, and it's up to the government to do otherwise and prove that the people have to be with the government. That's all we have for you this morning from Newsline. I've been Chathuranga Hapuarahchchi. It's lovely to have you. Take care.